This video is sponsored by Video AI. This is the UK, a nation sitting between two giants, the European Union to the right and the United States across the Atlantic to the left. And the UK loves trading with both. Let's look at the numbers. The UK's total trade is worth a staggering 2 trillion euros per year. Out of this, nearly half, at 46%, is with the EU, making it the UK's biggest trading partner by far. The US comes next, accounting for 17.8%, while trade with China trails behind at just 5%. But could this balance be about to change? Here's the curveball.
To me, the most beautiful word, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks, in the dictionary today, is the word tariff. It's more beautiful than love.
That's right. Trump is threatening trade tariffs of up to 20% on goods coming into the US, and this will likely include UK goods. Let's take a closer look at the UK's trade relationship with the US. The UK exports a hefty 221 billion euros to the United States, nearly a quarter of its total exports. Meanwhile, it imports 134 billion euros worth of American goods and services. That's a 87 billion euro trade surplus in the UK's favor. And if there's one thing Donald Trump isn't a fan of, it's countries not buying enough American. So despite the so-called special relationship, it's highly likely these tariffs would land squarely on the UK too. And here's where things start to look bleak. The National Institute of Economic and Social Research has crunched the numbers. And even without Trump's tariffs, UK growth is expected to limp along at 1.2% next year, rising slightly to 1.4% in 2026. But if Trump's proposed tariffs come into play, growth is estimated to decrease to just 0.5% next year, with long-term growth slipping to 0.9% by 2026. And it's not just growth. Inflation could spike by 3 to 4 percentage points, making everyday goods much more expensive. And on top of that, interest rates could rise by 2 to 3 percentage points too, as the Bank of England fights to keep inflation in check, hitting mortgages, loans, and businesses hard. Now, this isn't good news for the UK, but hey, there's a massive trading bloc right next door, the European Union. With the US leaning into isolationism and inward-looking policies, could the UK start cozying up to the EU again to revive economic growth? The answer is yes. Many people ask me how to create videos like I do, videos that bring their ideas to life, ones they're proud to share with their friends, yet are simple to make without needing advanced skills. Video AI enables you to do just that, and here's how it works. Simply type a prompt like, "Create me an explainer about French politics," and look at these results.
France has a president, currently Emmanuel Macron, who's in charge of defense and foreign policy. Then there's the National Assembly, where the real debates happen. Picture this, 3 major factions.
Impressive, right? Unlike other video tools that are hard to use and only help with parts of the process, Video AI is like having the perfect creative partner. It makes everything so easy and smooth that you don't even notice the tool. You can focus fully on your ideas and your vision. For example, you can edit your video with simple prompts, like add my voice. And now listen to this. France has a president, currently Emmanuel Macron, who is in charge of foreign policy. Then there's a National Assembly where the real debates happen. Picture this, the 3 major factions. This really makes the process so much easier and stress-free. You can try Video AI for free. But if you want to access the full generative capabilities, the generative plan starts at $96 per month. And trust me, it's worth it. Link in the description below. So where does UK-EU trade stand today? Enter the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, in short, TCA. This is the deal that's been governing trade between the UK and the EU since Brexit. It allows tariff-free trade for most goods, which sounds great, right? Well, not really. You see, even with the TCA in place, exporting a product to the EU is no longer straightforward. Take a small UK cheese producer, for example. Before Brexit, they could just ship their products across the channel, hassle-free. Now they have to fill out pages of custom declarations, get expert health certificates signed off by a vet, and face potential delays at border checks. For many small businesses, all this red tape isn't just a hassle, it's a deal breaker. The extra time, cost, and uncertainty have made it almost impossible for some to compete in EU markets. Aston University Business School reports that many smaller UK producers have stopped exporting small amounts to the EU. And the numbers simply don't lie. Over the past 2 years, UK good exports to the EU fell by 27%, and imports dropped by 32% compared to pre-Brexit projections. This hasn't gone unnoticed in Westminster. The new Labour government under Prime Minister Keir Starmer is taking a significantly more EU-friendly stance, with Starmer himself advocating for a relationship reset with the bloc. And it's not just politicians raising the alarm. The Bank of England Governor, Andrew Bailey, has stated plainly that Brexit has weakened the UK economy. His message is clear. The government must improve relations with the EU to drive economic growth. Aside from the existing trade and cooperation agreement, which facilitates the free movement of goods and permits the UK to establish its own trade deals, what other options are available for the UK moving forward? Well, the UK could rejoin the customs union. Under a customs union, the UK would need to align its regulations for goods with the EU. The big win? Goods could cross borders without any custom checks or tariffs. No more delays or mountains of paperwork clogging up ports like Dover. But there's a trade-off. The UK would have to adopt the same common external tariffs as the EU, meaning it couldn't negotiate its own trade deals anymore. Instead, all trade agreements would be handled by the European Union. This limits the UK's ability to strike bespoke deals with countries like the US or Australia, something that was a key promise of Brexit. Then there's also the single market. The single market isn't just about the free movement of goods, it also allows for the free movement of services, people, and capital. For UK businesses, this would mean trading with the EU as freely as they did before Brexit. And for individuals, it would bring back the right to live and work anywhere across the EU. But there's a catch. Joining the single market would require full regulatory alignment with the EU. While the UK wouldn't have to adopt the EU's external tariffs and could technically still make its own trade deals, in practice, this would rarely happen. Why? Because aligning with EU rules often limits what you can negotiate independently. As for the drawbacks, access to the single market entails a membership fee, and without being part of the customs union, border checks might still be required. Non-EU countries like Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein are already part of the single market through the European Economic Area Agreement, but they aren't in the customs union. So is one of these models a fit for the UK? Here's what Prime Minister Keir Starmer recently said.
I've said on a number of occasions that we are not going back to the EU, and that means not going back into the single market or the customs union.
Seriously? You're really not giving us a lot of room to maneuver here, Starmer. The question is, why? Take the single market. Free movement of people is an absolute no-go for the UK, as it was one of the key promises of Brexit to put a stop to. And while rejoining might solve some trade issues, staying outside of the customs union would still mean custom checks and paperwork for some goods crossing the border. So what about the customs union? Wouldn't that be a good fit for the UK? The big argument against it is that the UK wants to make its own trade deals. Fair enough, but let's take a closer look at what is actually going on. Since leaving the EU, the UK has signed 71 free trade deals. That sounds pretty impressive. Until you dig a little bit deeper and realize that 68 of them are rollover deals. These are basically carbon copies of the agreements the UK had with those same countries while it was part of the EU. So that leaves us with 3 new trade deals: Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. But here's the thing. According to the UK Trade Policy Observatory, the Japan deal offers very little additional economic value to the UK. And as for Australia and New Zealand, critics argue that these agreements benefit Australia and New Zealand far more than the UK, with the farming sectors in particular taking a hit in Britain. So yeah, they're not exactly glowing examples of post-Brexit trade deal successes. In my opinion, this is both naive and short-sighted. 46% of the UK trade is with the EU, and that number could be so much higher, benefiting both sides. And how can the UK, with just a fraction of the EU's economic strength, honestly expect to secure better trade deals on its own than the EU can as a unified bloc? It's baffling to me. Look at these trade deals the EU is working on. Can the UK really emulate that? I personally doubt it. And the idea that Trump would exclude the UK from his tariffs or prioritize a UK deal over the EU? Let's be real, he didn't do it in his first term, and he won't in his second. Isn't it time to put our differences behind us? The UK should set aside its pride and join the EU customs union. This move wouldn't just boost our economies, it would also present a strong, united front to Trump, the only kind of approach he seems to respect. That said though, a full return to an EU customs union seems very unlikely. With Starmer unlikely to reverse his stance, the UK will probably aim for a middle ground between the current trade and cooperation agreement and the full EU customs union. Potential steps include negotiating a sanitary agreement to reduce veterinary checks on food products. Another possibility is securing mutual recognition of professional qualifications, allowing UK lawyers and architects to work freely in the EU. Simplifying touring arrangements for musicians is also on the table. Additionally, there has been some discussion about an EU-UK defense pact, though the details remain unclear. While these initiatives could help in certain areas, they're unlikely to make a big economic impact for either side. With the EU focused on its own pressing priorities, reopening the TCA seems improbable. For now, the UK strategy will likely involve small political adjustments rather than a significant shift towards deeper integration. We think this is a mistake and benefits no one. But what do you think? Which model would you like to see? If you're curious about the potential impact Trump could have on Europe and the UK, be sure to check out our detailed analysis in this video here. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share if you found this video interesting. And a huge shout out to our patrons, especially our presidents, Jan, Sjoukje, BJ, Peter, Kristen, and HEVD. Your support makes this all possible.